Mr. Hammerstone. Where is he?
Hello.
I don't know how I have to call you if you want Sir Hammerstone or Alex. I don't know.
Just Hammerstone or Hammer is fine.
I'm a man. I'm so happy to be back and doing interviews. It's been a while, as you may have heard. So I'm definitely happy and happy to talk to you because I've been a fan for quite a while. So
Awesome.
great. So yeah, let's talk about TNA. Well, I will come to Rebellion match just after, but um, when you come to at Hard to Kill, you had a match against Josh, of course. But at that time, what was your state of mind? You were just doing a match, in fact. You were not signed. You were not a member of the TNA roster. What was your state of mind at that time? Sorry for the French accent, of course. But what was your state of mind when you come to for that match?
Yeah, at that time, it was just pressure. It was just pressure to deliver, to succeed, to kind of steal the show. Because there's always big pressure when you have these big matches in professional wrestling. But like you said, at that time, I was not under contract, and I was not under contract anywhere. It was the first time in 5 years that I was like wrestling without a contract. So stepping into that match, not only did I know that I had more eyes on me than ever before, so I wanted to succeed. Not only did I know, I was taking a spot on this pay per view, so I wanted to succeed for the locker room and for the office and for production and all those people. But it's like I knew that I was potentially earning my spot on that roster that night. And so it felt like make or break. It felt like this could be a career altering match for me. And turned out it was. And really, it would have been regardless because if I had walked in there and fell flat on my face and had a terrible showing, then I don't think TNA would have been calling to offer me a contract a couple of weeks later, and who knows where I'd be right now. So
Of
going to
course.
that match, it just felt like the culmination of the work that I had been doing for over a decade. It felt like all of it was leading up to that night.
If I come back to that moment, uh, it was just a match. Were you expecting TNA to offer a contract, or were you just, I don't know where I'm going, I'm just taking one match after another? Was what happened?
After the match, I was, obviously I was disappointed that I lost.
Hmm.
But that being said, overall, like you know when you went out there and performed at a high level and crushed it, and I knew that I performed well. I knew that I had gotten a lot of positive feedback from everyone in the back and so after that match, like I had kind of decided in my head like I want to do more with this company. I don't know if that's going to lead to a contract, but like I don't think I'm done here. So I went to them and kind of said, hey, like let's talk because there was some other offers floating around in the professional wrestling world, and um, the that serious talks hadn't been open with Tina yet, so I didn't know for sure what was going to happen, but I knew that I wanted to do more there.
Of course. Uh, for me, you stole the show that night, Josh. My personal opinion. Um, and because I've been watching you for a long time now, was like he's made for TNA. So
Thank
yeah.
you.
But now it's like you said in this promo that you had that chip on your shoulder because in 2018 they told you no, and now they were telling you to come, and you wanted to show the world, in some ways, prove them wrong, and you is it the state of mind you had to um, showing them, proving them wrong? for the 6 years before?
I'm very aware that things change and people grow, and that the Hammerstone that they saw 6 years ago isn't the Hammerstone today. So it's like I'm very happy with the way things worked out, because if I had come into TNA 6 years ago and gotten a job, I would have been at the very bottom, struggling to find myself, struggling to climb, up the way I did, or the way climb my way up the ladder. But I went elsewhere and was able to hone my craft and shape myself and really find out who I was as a professional wrestler, and grow as a man, grow as a wrestler. And so now stepping to TNA, like, I'm a force. I'm from day one. I'm a force. Um, so I don't think of it that way. I don't think I'm proving anyone wrong. But every time I step in a ring, I always have that chip on my shoulder, because it's like, there's always doubters, there's always people that want to see you fail, there's always people that say, like, oh, when you go here, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, whatever. And it's like, people say, oh yeah, you were world champion there, but you won't be world champion at TNA. It's like, okay, well then I'll prove you wrong. So it's like, no matter how many supporters you have in professional wrestling, you always have some doubters. So I use both for motivation in different ways.
And in between 2018 and now, you were a 644-day champion in another company. We followed you at that time with my former media, and we're just, yeah. So, really. And you set the standard pretty high, because you went straight to Josh Alexander, who was like um, the heart and soul of the company, maybe, but a very important person in the company. And you lost the first match, but you won the second. And what did you have you felt the difference between sacrifice and aftercare? The state of mind or the uh, thing were different just because you signed the contract was making the difference in your head coming to the ring that day.
Okay, so I'll say that, hard to kill. Maybe I walked in kind of overly concerned with proving that I was a good wrestler. And at Sacrifice, I worked in with one concern, and that was beating Josh Alexander. And if I had walked in with that mindset, hard to kill, I think I would have beat Josh then. But like I said, I was concerned with showing up, showing out, maybe hitting too many flashy moves, maybe showing the fans too much love, doing these things that I thought would garner me attention and fanfare, and kind of win over the crowd. But like I said, being too concerned with that led to me maybe getting beat. Showing up Sacrifice, I had one focus: beat Josh Alexander, and I did. Going into Rebellion, I have two focuses: beat Josh Alexander and make him sorry for ever wanting to wrestle you again. So I'm going into Rebellion with those in mind, and I think that's why I'm going to beat him all over
Yeah, and you stole his helmet. Um, do you want? Did you want to weaken him in some ways? Um, I don't know how to say that, but take something important for him, because he has this thing he's doing with his helmet when he's coming to the ring. Um, what was the idea with taking
again.
that important thing?
I wanted to break his faith in himself.
Mm.
I wanted to remind him every time he sees me going to the ring, wrestling in the ring, backstage, anywhere, he's going to be reminded of what I did to him, of what I took to him, and what I can do to him all over again. The Rebellion, he's going to walk to the ring without any headgear. He's going to see me carrying it, and he's going to go into that match psychologically already beaten, because he is going to be reminded constantly that I have already beat him and that I can beat him. So he's going to know that the entire time. And when you psychologically beat someone, it's only a matter of time until you physically beat him as well.
Oh, I like that state of mind. I must be. No, but I like that. Um, after Rebellion, uh, if the chapter closed at Rebellion, we don't know. Um, what are the wrestlers in the locker room that you really want to compete against? The guys in the locker room that you really want to go against.
Uh, well, you know what's interesting is how many wrestlers back there would be first time matchups for me. You know, when you
Yeah,
talk about, an Ace Austin or a Kazarian, Eric Young, Moose, all these guys are guys that want to wrestle and guys that would be first time matchups that would be incredible. Then you have guys like Chris Bay and Jake Something, who I have wrestled in the past and I know will be an incredible matchup. That being said, my concern is with climbing the mountain of TNA, getting to the very top, getting to the World Heavyweight Championship. So I don't care about who I want to wrestle. I'm worried about who I have to wrestle, who I have to beat in order to get closer to that World Heavyweight Championship. So I think step one is Josh at Rebellion, and after that, it's just about who's in my way on my climb to the very top.
and thinking about Rebellion, Moose will be facing Nick Nemes. I hope I'm saying it right, Nick Nemes. If you were the next one would you choose, Moose or Nick?
That's a there's reasons for both. Obviously Moose being kind of like a pillar of TNA and wanting to
Yeah,
me personally, like I want to break down the pillars because I want to show that this is a new company. You break Josh Alexander, you break Moose, you crumple the old regime, and I show them that hey, yeah, you guys were TNA, but I am TNA. That would be a good way to do that. That being said, when you have someone like Nemeth who has the history he has in this business and brings the eyes he does, and also the talent and caliber he does, not to say that Moose doesn't do that because of course he does as well, you know, but it's like I was watching Nemeth, I was watching him years ago when I was just a fan, so it's like he he would be someone I'd truly love to just get in the ring with as well. But I'll be watching that match very closely because, like I said, that's my goal within this company. So I'll be watching that match and very interested to see who comes out as champion.
definitely. Me too, because um, there's there are three wrestlers that I've known all over my work for TNA, and there's Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Rosemary. They are the three that have never left the company. So for me, they are really pillars, very big pillars. Um, I wanted to say, I know because, like I said, you were a 644-day champion, another company. When you say you want to destroy the pillars of TNA, um, we know that you were able to put a company on your shoulder in the past. Do you feel like you can be that person for TNA in the future?
100%. I wouldn't have I wouldn't have signed with the company unless I thought that. My goal coming into a company is never to make a certain amount of money, show up, wrestle, go home. It's just to show up early, stay late, to do the work that has to be done, to be the guy. I want to be the guy. I want to take on that workload. I want to put the company on my back. And if you talk about, having pillars like, Moose and Josh and EY and Eddie Edwards and all these pillars it takes to hold up the company. You don't need four pillars. You don't need three pillars. You don't need five pillars. You just need one strong back, and that's Hammerstone.
I agree with that. No problem. Um, but I will go a little bit in the past because when you're a wrestler, obviously you're a wrestling fan, of course. But which TNA fan were you?
So
If
I
you were
got into
one.
yeah. So I got into when I got into TNA, like I got into it when I started training to wrestle in around like 2011, but I got into it retroactively by buying old DVDs. I remember like the first pay per view I ever watched was when they had the match. It was Joe versus Chris Daniels versus AJ Styles. So I was watching like the 2006 to 2010
Yeah.
TNA. You know, like that was what really got me into it. And then I've kind of intermittently stayed a fan since then.
It's an iconic match of the TNA history. Joe versus Styles versus Daniels.
Yeah,
You.
it's
It's been
one of a
huge,
kind.
and, and it's huge, and uh, just and being a part of this history now and making history must be huge in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's crazy to think about. You know, we get so caught up in just kind of moving forward and what's next. But when you sit back, take a breath, and think like, man, I was watching this and just as a fan, years ago, but now I'm part of it, and now I'm building the legacy that someone's grown up and watching as part of their journey. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a question I wanted to ask before, but fair trade, let's be honest. Because I've known also Josh for quite a while. Um, all things set apart, I'm gonna say. What do you think of Josh Alexander as a wrestler?
I think he's one of the absolute best going today. I've said before that the reason we have good matches together isn't necessarily just because our styles mix well, but it's because our attitudes mix well. It's like we get in that ring and it's like there's this attitude and this demeanor of like thinking I'm the best. I will not be outworked. I will not be, you know, like how serious we both take this. So it's like when we start beating on each other and bringing it and trying to put the foot on the gas pedal, it's like he makes me go up a level, then I make him go up a level, then he makes me go up another. It's like we're just constantly trying to raise the bar, and we're like both unwilling to be, you know, beaten in that regard. And I think that it elevates throughout the match, and it elevates match to match. And I think that's why when you see us go head to head at Rebellion, it's going to be the best thing we've done yet.
Yeah. And to be the man, you have to beat the man, like we say.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's it.
um, there was something else. I don't know. I'm going. How you're going to take it, but because I've been watching and working on TNA for quite a while, um, I think when I saw your debut, I couldn't help but think about the way Brian Cage came to TNA and the way he smashed everyone. And would you agree with that, or maybe no?
I
You
mean,
think
hey,
else?
Brian is a good friend of mine, and I'm a huge fan of his. I'll never hate to be compared to him. I think we're both we fall into a similar space where we're both very obviously big muscular imposing figures, but when we get in that ring we maybe pull off some stuff that's maybe not so typical of what you'd expect from a guy who looks the way we do. So I have no problem being compared to him now, especially if that means I get to follow in his footsteps and climb my way to the World Heavyweight Championship. I have no problem with that at all.
I that's what I was thinking, and I was hoping I was so good, girl. But I wish you the best and the same climb to the top, Dan Bryan. Really, like I said, I've been a big fan, and not gonna change that. Thank you so much. I'm a stone man. Um, it was my first interview like 2 years, and I was so happy that you were my comeback interview because I appreciate you so much. Thank you very much. This interview will be on Distortion Media YouTube station, and of course, we can see you at Rebellion on April 22. against Josh Alexander. Thank you so, so, so much. Hammerstone.